All right, you spoke and I listened. For the last year, year and a half, I've been doing videos about laminating. And when I first started heat laminating, all the videos I saw kept saying, make sure you leave a clear border all the way around when you cut out your project, otherwise your project is going to separate into layers. But many of my viewers kept telling me in the last year and a half that this is not necessarily true. So I was determined we were going to work with this. And another crafty YouTuber whose name I am putting across the screen right here had also come out and said the same thing. No, you can laminate just one-sided even. And she also showed using matte lamination sheets, and I am in love with these matte ones. And you can see there's no glare here as opposed to this one, which is all glary. It has a beautiful satiny, almost a suede feel to it. So if you are a tactile person, you will love this. So if you are putting two sheets together in your laminator, here's what I did. You put both your sheets pretty side out. So ugly sides or wrong sides are together. Put it into your laminating pouch. Now there's always one side that's pre-sealed. So take the two sheets together, put them in here all the way and run it through your laminator. It only requires once, but I usually flip it over and do it a second time. People always ask what laminator I use, and I use the Royal Sovereign. I like it because it's a horizontal feed. I started off with the other one, the Scotch laminator, which was a vertical feed, and whatever I had inside my laminating pouch would get all misaligned, so I prefer the horizontal feed. So this is rice paper, and this is a paper sack, just a paper bag. And so those two are ugly side together, ran them through, and now all I need to do is cut them apart right here, and I will have two pieces to work with, which I'll show you right now. You could also use a scissor, obviously. Now if you wanted, see how this is now a pouch? You could leave the sides laminated and have a pouch, or you could cut them apart and have two separate sheets that are each laminated on one side. So why would we bother doing this? Why would we bother laminating one side? It's just to give it a stronger substance to work with, a surface that is stronger for some of these crafts, more long lasting. And so there they are. There is rice paper, which is so thin I probably wouldn't be able to do much on a standalone craft. You might want to laminate both sides of this, but again, this hear that? This is laminated on the front side. It also makes it waterproof. So if that's a craft you're working on that needs to be more waterproof, there is an option right there. Now, here's another reason you might want to laminate. I have laminated my vellum. So I put two sheets of vellum in here. If your vellum has a pattern, put the darker of the two patterns out. So that would be the pretty side. And again, this would make a beautiful bag to just leave one side open and the other three sides closed. Would be really pretty. So it's up to you to determine whether you want to laminate one side or both. And that is beautiful. So now it's still as translucent as it ever was, but it's strong enough that we can use die cutting or just cut them apart, make pockets, make envelopes, or whatever we want to do. But since our project today is involving making pizza boxes, we're going to, that's what the project we're going to use them for. So this one here is the glossy, and I want to show you that one thing you can do. I need to back up a little bit. So when I did this, you notice I did not put any paper in between my two things. I did not have to put any printer paper or anything between them. You don't need anything in between there, just those two sheets. If you want to do this where you don't even use the pouch, then take one of the pouches and cut the sealed end apart and lay it on your cardstock, making sure that it is smaller than your cardstock, and run it through the laminator like that. So that's what I did with this one. Yes, they curl just because of the fact that you've heated one side. This is a beautiful side too. This would have been a great project for doing both sides, but I wanted to show you what to do there. What about adhesives though? When you are adhering let's say we're going to fold this over into a flap. Let's say if we're going to glue this together, this is a slick surface. It's not porous, and so it doesn't have tooth or the ability of a liquid adhesive to grab on it very well to adhere to the paper. So a liquid glue like this is not your best option. It'll just pop right up, but you could use your tape runner or your double-sided permanent tape for that. But with the matte laminating sheets, I've done a test on these, and the liquid glues worked because it's not as slick and shiny, and it actually adhered to it pretty well. So, and you could still use a tape runner if you want. So I have already pre-die cut one of these with the matte laminate on it, and I'm going to go and get all my burnishing done. So this die does score. Now it'll be a little harder to see your score lines because of the lamination. So this makes it a very thick paper. Now the other thing is I used cardstock for this one, so it was already thick. So now it's going to be super thick, but it'll also be super strong. Now, depending on, as I have a little bit of flap here coming up, I'm just going to glue that back on. I have had better success using lightweight paper as opposed to working with cardstock. If you have a really stiff cardstock, it does make it a little difficult to work with. Okay, so we're going to glue these two little flaps in here. We're going to have this little thumb notch stick out. These ones need to glue in. And now this flap is going to come down on itself. And these two little flaps go right across the spine here. So what we have, the sides in, lower this down, and we have a laminated pizza box right there. Again, the thinner cardstock works better with the laminating, or the thinner, or just paper, because the thicker the cardstock, the harder it is to bend all of that around itself with the lamination, but it still works. So let's do one more. Let's do one with the vellum. Now I'm going to use the tape runner this time because I think it would work a lot better on vellum than trying to use a liquid glue. Again, find that little thumb notch right there. Okay. Now for these two flaps here. That is glued. We're going to take the two bottom flaps, push them inside. And there you have it. So those are the two vellum pizza boxes. This one is still softer, obviously, because we're starting with a lighter weight substance. But I love how crinkly that is. And you can go ahead and embellish these however you want, and you can embellish them with the die set that comes with the pizza box. Take a look at this video right here to show you how to assemble and decorate the pizza boxes. Thank you everyone for watching.